how to generate residential roofing customers without wasting time or money on ineffective marketing. What's going on, everyone? My name is Franky with Roofers Ready, and I want to introduce you to the Projects on Demand system with a 100% guaranteed results. So with that in mind, guys, here's what we're going to cover in this quick training here. We're going to discuss how to generate qualified roofing opportunities in a matter of just days after this training. We're going to discuss how to get those leads to schedule automatically while you sleep and even on the weekend. I'm excited to dive into that portion of this short video here. I'm also going to walk you through how to get guaranteed qualified appointments, actual face-to-face sit-downs, guaranteed, scheduled on your calendar as early as this week. And more importantly, I'm going to walk you through how to prove this system in your market with guaranteed results. Now look, I know this all sounds crazy. Trust me, I get it. I understand you're thinking this sounds impossible, or you might have heard claims just like this before. But bear with me. I'm going to walk you through our process and again, prove that it works with guaranteed results. So with that in mind, who am I, right? Well, I've had the privilege of spending multiple generations in the home services industry. We've built and scaled a few companies, and I'm also the founder here of Roofers Ready Projects on Demand system. Now, what is the Projects on Demand system? Well, we've had the privilege of generating over $11 million worth of new projects in the last few years alone in over 20 different markets right now. In fact, we're on track to increase those numbers for our clients year in and year out. We've spent over $2 million in ad spend and marketing campaigns testing trial and errors to figure out what is actually working in the roofing market all across the country. In fact, I took a screenshot inside just one of our ad accounts here, and as you can see, $300,000 spent in about 3 to 4.5 month period here. And here's what I'll say about that. You don't spend a couple of hundreds of thousands of bucks until you learn what works and what doesn't work, and more importantly, how to generate results, how to actually get guaranteed results on your marketing campaigns. Here's some more quick stuff on us. We've been featured and working with some of the top advertising leaders in the marketing space, including names like Grant Cardone and Franky. We've also spoken across the country on multiple stages on the topic of project acquisition. And more importantly, my favorite part here is we are revenue partners, okay? We focus on what matters, right? What matters at the end of the day is not how many clicks you get. It's not how many views you've gotten. It's not even the number of leads. It's how much revenue did you generate from your leads. We focus on the only thing that you care about, which is generating results. So with that in mind, I've got a question for you. Is this training worth your time? I know you guys are super busy. You got a ton of things going on. You got a team to oversee. You got projects coming in left and right. Why would you want to sit here and watch through this training? Well, here's some quick case study here. We got John from Quality Roofing and Remodeling. Now, prior to using our system, he was running TV ads, newspaper ads, billboard ads. He had never ran online ads aside from using Home Advisor, okay, Angie's List. Now, his very first month using our system, he generated 92 exclusive leads at 100-to-1 return on investment, okay? I actually took a screenshot inside of his ad account his first month here. 92 leads at $10 a piece here. His first month, he closed 4 projects, the smallest project being worth $15,000, again, in under 1 month. Okay, here's another case study here, Beyond Contracting. They've been with us for a little while now. Our worst month using the Projects on Demand system gave us a 15-to-1 return on investment. Our best month was over a 50-to-1 return on investment. At this point, he scaled our program where he's averaging 24 new appointments per month that are guaranteed, meaning face-to-face sit-downs, exclusive appointments guaranteed. Guys, here's another case study here, okay? It's actually one of our favorites just because he was super skeptical to use our system when we first partnered up. So he closes in his very first month $50,000 worth of new projects. Again, in his very first month using our system. He had tried a ton of different lead sources. He had tried SEO. He tried Google Ads. He had tried Home Advisor, Angie's List, door knocking. He tried everything, and it didn't really seem to work well. However, he's been with us for about 6 or 7 months now, and as you can see, here's his lead costs, and the time he's been with us averaging a 28-to-1 return on investment, guys. So with that in mind, I would say it's definitely worth your time so you can figure out how to generate a 28-to-1 return on investment, how to add an extra $50,000 to $100,000 worth of new project revenue in under a month. So with that in mind, guys, let's take a second to talk about the problems going on right now in the marketplace. So you're spending money on low quality or inconsistent lead sources. There's also an epidemic of marketers out there who are over-promising and under-delivering. They're promising you the world. And when it comes time to deliver, you get absolutely nothing but a whole bunch of clicks and views and leads that don't convert into anything, right? So it's causing you guys to have an empty calendar and you're chasing down a whole bunch of uninterested leads and you're missing out on opportunities. And your sales guys are also missing out on a ton of opportunities. And also right now, there's so much more competition than ever before. And finally, there's also the fact that these lead generation companies and marketing companies, they don't understand that you don't really care about generating leads. You care about the leads converting into projects. Now, you understand that you have to generate the lead to convert the project, but at the end of the day, if it's a low quality lead or if it's not turning into a qualified project, then it's actually an expense overall, right? So with that in mind, I'm going to cut through all the BS and I'm just going to show you what is actually working today, okay? Not just to generate a whole bunch of leads, but to actually get qualified projects to close. So here's one of the old ways of doing things, okay? Before in the past, if you wanted to market online, aside from obviously Home Advisor, Angie's List, House, all these things, if you wanted to take your internal marketing, where you're running branded campaigns, maybe you'd go on Google, you run some Google ads, it used to be called AdWords. Maybe you're doing some SEO, etc., which, takes 6 to 9 months before you start seeing any real results. The problem is with Google and these types of things is that there's so much competition, okay? 97% of your traffic is immediately bouncing off. And so if you're spending $1,000, then $970 of that 1,000 are really going straight down the drain because only 3% are actually converting. And the reason is there's so much to do on your website. They're reading your About Us, they're reading your FAQs, they're reading some of the projects you've done. Next thing you know, they're bouncing off, right? Or they're off to the next person to just kind of price shop and all that kind of sort of thing, right? So what that means is you're not maximizing your advertising dollars. So here's some things that started to change. Again, competition became more and more stiff, and so did the prices to actually advertise. So in the past, if you were running Google AdWords, it used to be incredibly underpriced. And so even if only 3% actually converted at the end of the day, that 3% was more than enough for you to get a robust ROI. Also nowadays, SEO is taking longer than ever to get results, and it's way more difficult to stay ranked on that first page if you don't know what you're doing and if you don't have the right people. And so conversions are ultimately dropping from a lead standpoint, and so is the number of qualified leads. So you're getting less and less leads, and less of those leads are actually converting. However, there is a new way that really is guaranteed to work. And as you can see here, some screenshots from one of our clients here, 211 leads coming in at $5 a piece, okay? These are exclusive branded leads. 563 leads. He's been with us for a little bit over a year now at $15 a piece here, guys. Now, a few things to keep in mind. This new way of doing things actually requires less work on your end. It cheapens your cost per lead, meaning you're getting a more cost-effective rate while simultaneously increasing the quality. And in a second, you'll see why. So here's a 30,000 foot view of how we actually generate these leads, okay? So here's an example of just some of our system and how it works. So first and foremost, we take a multi-channel approach, meaning we're running campaigns on multiple different platforms. Meaning we're running campaigns on Facebook, Meta, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Google ads, heck, even some Hulu ads if we can get some high quality leads at a low cost per acquisition. The biggest thing here, guys, is that the vehicle doesn't matter. What matters is the result, right? And that's where we focus on. Now, the reason we do that is because, believe it or not, that actually gets you cheaper leads at a more quality rate. Now, I know it sounds counterintuitive because you probably think, hey, you're advertising on multiple channels. It'll probably be more expensive, right? But it's actually the opposite. This is how we're able to get leads at $15 a piece, okay? Exclusive branded leads at $5 a piece, etc. Because we're getting them pennies on the dollar, okay? They're seeing you in every possible angle available. So their perception is this roofing company must be the only logical choice in my market. So I'm going to go ahead and go with them versus going with Bob down the road. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And then what we're also doing is instead of driving traffic to the homepage of your website, we're actually driving traffic to an online sales funnel. Okay, so an example I gave earlier where only 3% of your traffic is actually opting in converting with our online sales funnels because they're specific to the type of offer that the prospect is looking for, whether it's a repair, whether it's a replacement, whether it's shingles, etc. We're getting opt-in rates at 40 to 50%, meaning you're maximizing your advertising dollars instead of 97% of it going down the drain. We're getting 50% opt-ins, meaning 50% of the people who land on the page are going to give you a phone call or inquire. And then what we're also doing is we're not just sending over leads. Okay, we're also automating all of the follow-up with text message and email campaigns, essentially acting as an extension of your sales team. As part of our system, we even get automatic scheduled appointments on your calendar. Okay, so now here's the real secret sauce. Okay, the real secret sauce. We leverage targeted behavioral data to go after prospects who are ready to take action right now. So what does that mean? Well, if you guys been in sales for a while, then you know that only 3% of the market is ready to buy right now. And 6 or 7% are open to buying, but they just don't know who they're going to go with and they don't know if they're going to do it right now. But what if you had a system that only went after that 3% of people who are interested and in the buying mode? And what if simultaneously you were able to nurture that 6 to 7% and that 30% of people who are not thinking about it, but know they need it down the line? What if they were being nurtured on autopilot automatically while simultaneously going after that 3% of people who are ready to take action and buy right now? That's what's going to enable you to not just have sales coming in consistently, but automatic sales down in the pipeline. Because you guys know, you guys get a ton of prospects who are telling you, yeah, come back in a couple of months, I'll think about it. What if you actually nurture and follow up with those prospects on autopilot? That's what's going to enable you to not just close right now, but maximize your close rates down the line, because we're pre-framing the prospect to perceive you as the number one option in your market, the only logical choice through our brand response campaigns. Their perception is that these guys must be the number one people in my market. I've got to go with them. So you're not having to price shop, you're not having to give them the cheapest bid, etc. Okay? That's maximizing your close rates, not just now, but in the future as well, enabling you to get results like this. Okay? So here's some more results from one of our clients. 245 inbound calls in just 1 month. Okay? How different would your business look right now if you got an extra 200 inbound phone calls? Guys, because again, the perception is worth more than the reality in this day and age. So why is branding and all that sort of stuff so important? Well, in 2024, we must truly understand the new prospect journey. Again, there's so much competition, and with so much noise going on right now in the marketplace, it has never been more important to have to stand out. So if you guys have advertised on Home Advisor, Angie's List, Thumbtack, all those sites, for example, then you know they're giving that lead to 4 or 5 other contractors. So how do you compete? Because that prospect is going to go with whoever gives them the cheapest bid, a straight race to the bottom, or whoever has the biggest brand. So with that in mind, let me ask you guys a question, and I want you guys to really think about this, okay? How many times has a prospect initially inquired with you, right? You give them an estimate, you give them a quote, but they didn't close. But you know that they got the job done down the line except with a competitor. Guys, it happens all the time. And again, I said it's because of the lack of the follow-up. Now I understand it's difficult to follow up with that many people because you don't have the manpower, right? But we automate that process for you. Again, acting as an extension of your sales team. And here's another thing. We also reactivate and reignite old prospects, maximizing each and every opportunity by re-engaging old leads again in an automated way. So I'll give you a short example. One of our clients came to us, right? And he had a list of 330 prospects. So that's 330 plus prospects that they gave a quote to, but they just didn't close, right? And we asked him, well, what are you doing with that list right now? How are you guys leveraging that list of people who already know you already, that already trust you and already like you, but they just didn't pull the trigger? You know, the ones that didn't close for whatever reason. He said, oh yeah, well, we give them a call every couple of months to touch base. Okay, well, what we did is we went ahead and we put them onto an email and a text message campaign, and they closed close to $200,000 worth of projects in a couple of short weeks with just one email campaign and a text message campaign that went out to his list of people who already knew, like, and trust him. Guys, you must have reactivation and re-nurturing campaigns and systems in place to automatically follow up with old leads. Otherwise, I can guarantee that you're leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table right now. So let's talk about the project momentum machine, okay? I want us to take a second to walk you through what happens and what occurs when you have all of these systems in place. But first, let's take a second to talk about the 2 types of roofers that are out there, okay? And I want you to think about which category do you fall under. So number 1, you have the grinders, okay? These are the people who make some money sometimes, but no money most of the time. Or they spend far too much time making far too little, okay? Does that sound like you? And then you have number 2, the rainmakers. These are the people who are absolutely crushing it, making more and more money, building more and more wealth, and spending less time doing so. So my question to you is, what makes these 2 types of roofers different? Are they better than you? Do they have better options that they offer, like financing and stuff like that? Well, not necessarily. It's that they understand how the snowball effect works and that it takes place over time. So let's say you start advertising, right? And month 1, you get a 10-to-1 or a 20-to-1 return on investment. Okay, it's pretty good. Now, some of the leads from month 2 begin to close. Then some of the leads from month 3 begin to close. Now some of the leads from month 5 and 6 are now closing because you have a system in place to nurture and automatically follow up with that process. So you can never have a dry spell of projects again. You will always have deals in the pipeline ready to go. And what's the result of executing this correctly, you may ask? It's that you'll finally be able to stop relying on inconsistent lead sources and you will consistently grow. Okay, so now with that in mind, guys, let me ask you a question. Are you guys enjoying this training so far? I mean, do you really see how this could work with everything that I've literally just walked you through? Do you feel like you could put this system into place? So what I want to know is who here is an action taker, okay? Who wants to have this entire system set up and handled for you completely and have it up and running in just 72 hours, okay? And who wants to get guaranteed results as early as next week? Okay, if that sounds like you, then I would like for you to click the schedule now button below if you're ready for guaranteed results in an endless supply of qualified projects. Okay, guys, we literally guarantee you results or you just don't pay. So at this point, guys, you've seen our entire training, okay? There's just 2 options left here. Number 1, you can continue relying on all these shared or unqualified leads. You can rely on going door to door, not knowing where your next project is going to be coming from. You can take time to spend doing all of the technical work. You can stay up to date with the marketing and all this online stuff that you know you should be doing, but it's kind of like wandering through a desert all alone. Okay, you don't really have a roadmap, you don't know where to go, and it's kind of like doing things the hard way. Okay, you're trying to crack a lock that has 10,000 different combinations. Or option number 2, which is quite simple. You can schedule a no obligation free strategy call where we'd love to learn more about your business, your goals, and see if our services would be a good fit. And again, guys, we do guarantee results, right? So we're so confident in our system that the way it works is that we actually guarantee you results or you just don't pay. Okay, so just go ahead, click the schedule now button below, go ahead and schedule your call, and we look forward to talking with you guys soon. Now, before we do, I did want to preface this is only for you if you are a serious business owner who is looking to grow, okay? If you're currently running ads online or on TV or on the newspaper, or on the radio or mailers, or if you're going door to door, or if you're using Home Advisor, Angie's List, Thumbtack, all these things, and you're just looking for a better ROI, okay? And you also must have room for at least an extra 5 to 10 projects a month because we have guarantees and we know we're going to hit them. And you also must be open-minded. If you're a good fit, then great. We'll discuss inviting you into our program to build you a true project generating machine. Okay, so guys, let's take a second to talk about the only risk here. It's exclusivity. Exclusivity is real. And as you guys know, we are in a ton of different markets right now. And because of our guarantees, we can only work with one contractor per geographical area. And so there's a ton of opportunity costs. And really, there's no risk because results are guaranteed. Now, with that in mind, I do want to preface that there is a warning. Time is a factor, and the window of opportunity for this strategy call in your area will not be open for long. That same ad or message that you came from, well, we get over 100 responses and inquiries a month in our Projects on Demand program. And we can only work with people that we know we can help and that we currently don't have someone in that service area. And so I highly, highly encourage you to go below, click right now, apply, schedule a call, and we look forward to talking with you guys soon. Take care.